has a place right across town whenever you're ready. Well, people gather round whenever they're ready. And then the music begins to play. Feel the blues coming on its way. Are you ready? Are you ready? You get yours, 'cause I...
Good morning. It is Thursday, February 25th, 2021. This is the Real Estate Roundtable. Good morning, Lloyd. Good morning, Tom. How are you guys?
I'm good.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood compared to last Thursday.
No, so far anyway.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to get some rain.
But now two of us were here last
I know, that's
Thursday.
exactly right. And
Uh-huh.
Ronnie was hiding out somewhere over in Rutherford County, I think.
I was in the Ice Castle.
We were here, and you know, we could still get around and stuff like that. It was, and I hate to say it, people think I'm crazy about it. I enjoy a good snow. I'm not crazy about the ice, but I enjoy a good snow, and I don't mind driving around.
Once every 10 years, it'd be all right.
Not so bad, but we haven't had, and I think we had probably 4 inches, 3 or 4 inches around here, maybe
Of snow,
5.
yeah. Probably
And-
2 inches of ice.
Yeah, well, that's true. And I actually went up to the lake, Old Hickory Lake, over the weekend just to kind of check things out there at the boat dock. And the harbor was totally frozen over.
Yeah.
And I was punching some ice around the boat. And in places it looked like it was 2 inches to 3 inches thick.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was trying to break it up. And I broke up some of it. And but golly, I hadn't seen that in a long time. But I've seen ice up there before.
Is there much ice on the roof?
You know, there probably was.
On the
And-
shed,
And
yeah.
Sunday when I was up there, the sun was out, so a lot of it was melting. But we were fortunate that we didn't have any issues like a couple of places around
Yeah.
Old Hickory with older docks, I suppose, and maybe some wooden docks.
Totally flipped.
Where, yeah, they just,
Yeah.
they just collapsed. And of course, the big old pavilion down here where Georgia Boot was, you know, down by the river in Franklin, half of that thing's collapsed. I don't know if you've
Wow.
seen it, but yeah, the whole right-hand side is just laying on the ground.
Well, that saves the city a little demolition, but
That's right, Mother Nature took care of it. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. I think the weather, as Ronnie had said earlier, is gonna be a little bit rainy today, and now they're talking about possible flooding
yeah.
this weekend. So
6
a little
inches
snow,
of rain in the
yeah,
next 48
a little
hours.
snow, a little flood, you know,
Yeah.
hey, we'll survive.
Oh, yeah.
We'll survive, and we'll be here next Thursday. Ronnie, just letting you know. You can come on in. Did you have any birthdays this morning, by the way?
Yeah, we've
right.
got some birthdays this morning. Happy birthday to Tanisha Alderson. Happy birthday to Taylor Head. Felicia Cright, happy birthday to you. And rounding out who I have, happy birthday to Stephanie Neal.
All right, well, I don't have any new birthdays, but I do have some people that have that would have birthdays today. Born in 1901, Zeppo Marx. Now, Zeppo was one of the 3 brothers, the
Yeah.
Marx brothers, who was Groucho and Harpo and Zeppo. And you know, Groucho had a television show. Do you remember that
I
television show with the
remember
bird
the one
that
with the
came
bird.
down?
Yeah, with the, what was it, the word of the day? or-
It was something about the magic word.
Yeah. Mhm.
Say the magic word, and you know you get $50 or something like that. And I'm not going to discuss it now, but do you remember why Groucho was pulled off the air?
I think so.
For those that don't, probably won't discuss it, but it was hilarious, and it was so typical of a response from a guy like Groucho Marx. Anyway, moving on. Born on this day in 1913 was Jim Backus. Now,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was an actor, but do you know who he's famous for behind the scenes?
Mr. Magoo.
That's right. He was the voice of Mr. Magoo, and those great big eyes and so forth.
And what was the character he played on Gilligan's Island?
You know, I don't know what he was on
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island. That's right. I can't remember. But anyway, great voice. And then here's a guy that a lot of people don't know, but they really have heard a lot about him, and a guy named Tommy Newsom.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Newsom,
Band director.
great musician
Yeah.
and part-time director of the Tonight Show band when Johnny Carson had the Tonight Show, and Tommy was born on this day in 1929. He's a great sax player and played in the band himself, and but his arrangements are just super. And I know our big band, the Establishment, has several Tommy Newsom arrangements, and they're all just really, really good, really good. Most of them, in fact, I guess all of them are up-tempo, but fun to play. Farron Young, born on this day in 1932. And then another famous guitar player, George Harrison of the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Was born on this day in 1943. Now, just a couple of tidbits about history. Now, you know, every time you go to the gas pumps, I don't know how much we're paying in tax, but a lot of that dollar per gallon is tax. On this day, in 1919, the state of Oregon was the first state to put a gas tax in place, and it was 1 cent per gallon.
Out of how much?
How much a gallon?
Yeah, how much a gallon was
it? It would have been, what, maybe a nickel? Maybe,
Probably.
Maybe.
Oh, it's pretty high tax then, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20%, if that's what it was.
Yeah.
But you know, when I was a kid in high school, we were paying for premium 18, 19, 20 cents a gallon. And of course, that was taxed too. But anyway, 1 cent tax, and then
You know, user taxes like that, I really don't have much of a problem with.
I don't either, and I mean, I don't like to pay $3 a gallon for gas either. But yeah, but if I use it, then I should have to pay that.
And we have pretty good roads around here.
Yeah, boy, we've got some pretty good potholes.
And
too.
no debt.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right about those
Oh
potholes.
my gosh, people need to watch them. I know that I've even heard about that on the news. And in riding around like I do, I mean, I try to dodge them, and every now and then I'll hit one. It makes me so mad, and it scares me almost because it's just such a sudden jolt, you know, and I'm not expecting the darn thing. But anyway, be careful with those potholes out there. Then on this day in 1791, the first bank of the United States was chartered.
In 1791.
1791, and it was signed by George Washington.
Is that the bank that that Andrew Jackson tried to kill?
I don't know. I didn't check into that. Now, Tom, you're not supposed to treat your guests with questions that they can't answer. So, Buddy Holly. We all remember Buddy Holly. 1957 recorded "That'll Be the Day."
Mm-hmm.
That was one of his big hits, and that was in '57. And then in 1992,
Did he write that?
you know, I don't know. Probably wouldn't surprise me if he did. Because back in those days, from what I've been able to tell by his career, which was unfortunately really short, they were a garage band and rehearsed and so forth literally in their garage, and probably had to write their own material. And it was so different. Rock and roll was so new. There probably wasn't many people even writing that stuff or even thinking about it. You know, it was just really that was the birth around that time. And then continuing on with a little music information, in 1992, James Brown received a Lifetime Achievement Grammy, which he deserved. He was an interesting character. We've talked about him before, but and then another great singer, Frank Sinatra, on this day in 1995, sang before a live audience for the last time in 1995, and he was a colorful character himself. Had a real good career. Started up with Tommy Dorsey's band. A lot of great hits actually with the Dorsey band. And then Bo Diddley. A lot of people don't remember Bo Diddley, but Bo Diddley was a great guitar player.
Oh yeah.
Great musician. Well, Bo Diddley and Roy Orbison on this day in 1998 won the Lifetime Achievement Grammys also.
Tennessean. Not Bo Diddley, but Roy Orbison was a Tennessean.
And Roy lived out on Old Hickory Lake near Johnny Cash, if people know where that is out there. Had a nice house on a nice bluff right at the water, and then of course Johnny Cash's house was down by the water, and he had a really pretty, interesting house. And unfortunately, you know, when people realize folks like Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, and Barbara Mandrell, Barbara lived on the lake for a while, people would pull up to their house in boats and just sit out there in the water waiting to maybe get a glimpse of these folks, and especially and I felt sorry for her, especially Barbara Mandrell. Barbara lived on a house that had a beautiful front yard. They had a helipad in the front yard because her husband flew helicopters, and they, buzzed around in that. But people would just, I mean, you might see 10, 12 boats, little runabouts just lined up outside parked, waiting to see any glimpse of Barbara Mandrell. They finally moved to Joelton, in a forest.
The big house.
Yeah, the big house, and but it was
which is now an event venue.
It is, that's right. But you probably couldn't even see that place from the air. I think she just had enough exposure. But she was a big star at the time, and when you become a star, you have to.
Barry Gibb of the Gibb brothers bought Johnny Cash's house.
Cash's house, of course, that house burned.
Yeah, right after he bought it.
Yeah, and it's still sitting there in the same shape that it burned. I don't know why. Yep, I don't know why. I was by it. I hadn't been by it in a few months, but I was by it in this past summer, and it's still sitting there in that burned out shell. And I don't know whether Gibb still owns it or whether somebody else has bought it or whether the insurance company. I just don't know.
It
hadn't been redone.
We have a prominent obituary this morning.
Okay.
Shirley the elephant.
Oh, yes. I read
in
about
Hohenwald.
that. Yeah, had been there for
21 years.
21 years.
Died at the age of 72.
I wonder how they determine that. I mean, I guess you have to know that elephant since it was born.
It was born in, she was born in Sumatra in 1948.
I wonder if she was born to an elephant that was in the circus, because I think that's one of the things.
She was abused in circus life in Sumatra.
Yeah. I read that article, and it's kind of, it was certainly sad, and as a caretaker for somebody, for an animal like that, I'm sure it becomes very personal.
Well, you read that article in the Tennessean this morning, and it's Shirley is treated as a human-like figure,
feeding jelly beans and all that sort of stuff, and then
but not the licorice ones.
That's right. Anyway, but and then it just said that she laid down. I mean, it was just really a human type of article, talking about an elephant. But at any rate, I have never been to that sanctuary.
I'd like to go. Let's do this program from Hohenwald one morning.
It works for me. Yeah. It works for me. We'll go down there anytime. You set it up and we'll go.
There's a house for sale, Loy, and I'm not sure whether you're the realtor on it or not, but Dave Ramsey's house is on the market now.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Here Dave Ramsey talks about financial peace and don't borrow money to buy a car, just buy the cheapest thing you can buy to have transportation, and yet he's got a $15 million house. And then of course another interesting thing is my first thought, well probably my second thought, my first thought was what I just said, but my second thought was, I wonder who has that thing listed. It's so typical. It's his daughter's husband. So see, there's a realtor in the family.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's listed with the company. Grammer, I believe, is the last name, and I think that's his daughter's husband. So at any rate, my point, there's a realtor in that family. And the last commercial that we did, as you remember me discussing, I wanted to put a line in there, something about there's a realtor living under everybody's roof these days. And that's another example where naturally he's going to use his family member to list that house. If
that house is worth $15 million, how much did he spend on that office out on I-65?
That's obviously a multi-million-dollar operation, and he's getting ready to build another building, as you probably know, up on the hillside, I think, next door to that building. Yeah, and I don't honestly know, and I don't really care, I guess, what in the world do they do out there to generate that kind of income?
That's bound to be, what, 500,000 square feet?
Yeah, I would think so, maybe more than that.
Because they just added on.
Yeah, and they're gonna build again this other building.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do, but I understand it's a great place to work. And they
Yeah.
have parties out there, and I've seen it in the paper.
700 people
Without
working
their
at that.
masks, all partying around, and
Yeah.
so forth. And, good for them. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody likes a nice place to work, but, so I don't know. I don't know where the money comes from. I don't know what they do.
Is he the new Rush Limbaugh?
He might be for
financial, yeah.
but certainly not on the political
Yeah.
side. I don't think he'd want to go there,
Yeah.
quite honestly. But again, since you mentioned Rush Limbaugh, we talked about that briefly last week. And your comment was, I believe you said he saved AM radio, and that's probably pretty true, because I don't think there was anybody as effective as
Yeah.
he was prior to him getting on the radio, and certainly probably no one as effective while he was on the radio. And may never ever be another person like him, no matter what side you're on. And he was of course conservative, and I know he had a lot of people that claimed to be liberal that listened to him, because
Yeah.
they'd call in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'd say, I'm a Democrat, or I'm an independent, or I'm liberal, or whatever.
Oh,
And-
I'm a progressive.
Or something, whatever. But
Yeah.
but they were listening. See, and they'd say, "You made me so mad." Well, but they were listening.
Yeah.
That's the key,
Yeah.
and that's what drove him. And then he had an interesting delivery, and it was his shtick
Yeah.
to be somewhat controversial. That's just what kept people, I guess, tuned in.
Talent on loan from God.
That's exactly right. And doing it with one hand tied behind, no,
Uh,
half of his brain.
brain
That's what it was. Half of his brain tied behind his back. Well, anyway, he'll be missed, and radio probably will never quite be the same. But it's like everything else; things change.
Oh, yeah.
Williamson County continues to change. We've talked about a couple of things I want to mention real quick before I forget it. COVID, the vaccines and so forth, I've discussed this several times. And the way that this stuff is being distributed, I guess you noticed Shelby County, for example, I think had 50-some odd thousand doses that went bad, were unaccounted for. And it's just, anytime you get involved with things like that and the government is running, it's just a mess.
A lot of things disappear in Shelby County.
Well, that's true. That's true. But it's just really sad, and it's so difficult apparently to sign up for the vaccine. I'm still signed up in Williamson County,
Yeah.
and I haven't been put in line, even though I've already gotten my shot from
Yeah.
another county, and they're trying to stop that. Now, there's a move on in the state to keep
Where you have to
from-
get it from your home county?
Get it from your home county. Now, if you're starving, or let's say you're dying of thirst,
Yeah.
and you need water really badly, and you can go to Murray County and get your water, and you're told, don't go out of Williamson County to get your water, what do you think you're gonna do?
I'm gonna go to Murray
You're
County.
darn right, you're gonna go get your
Mhm.
water. And that's the same way I feel about this vaccine.
Yeah.
I had put my name in several counties and started getting calls with appointments
Yeah.
from several counties, but not Williamson County. Not William, and I'm in that over 70 crowd, so I'm right there.
Yeah,
And I
you're
wasn't a prisoner, and I knew they were getting it before me, and I wasn't, in certain
not a
groups.
teacher.
Not
Yeah.
a teacher, that's right, and I understand, but I still hadn't gotten it. I keep getting something about it's coming, or you're
You
still in
haven't-
it,
yeah.
sign back up and all this stuff. I'm going, what?
Yeah.
It's so complicated, it looks like to me, and then I've heard the explanation actually on WAKM 2 or 3 times, and I listened to it, and I'm going, well, no wonder. People can't understand how to sign up for this thing.
I got this email from a fella the other day after we had Hannah Bleem on, and Hannah was preaching about, you
Right.
go to this website,
Right?
WilliamsonReady.org.
Yeah.
And this email said, go to this website, and said you could learn to fly a 747 before you could learn to navigate this
That's
thing.
exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, anyway, so I'd say get the shot wherever you can. Well, I heard last night that Kroger is now gonna start giving it.
Walmart
Walmart, CVS.
at no charge.
So look,
Excuse me, it's already been paid for.
you pay for it, that's right.
And-
So go get your shot.
And you know who will eventually pay for it.
Yeah,
so.
and then, and a lot of people are saying they're not sure they're gonna get it. Well, I got that, but I still think you ought to get it. It's
Yeah.
just a shot. Don't be afraid of it, and, you know, you might not get the disease, but you could pass it.
Yeah.
So get your shot, and, or your 2 shots, or whatever it is you need. Get out there and take care of that.
Did people, I can't remember this, did people object to the polio shot or the smallpox vaccination? You remember those things?
Oh, I do. Well, now, speaking of that, I had no choice. I mean, they gave it to us in
Yeah.
school, in elementary school. The,
Sugar cube, wasn't it?
polio.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember. No, mine was something in the arm.
Yeah.
And it actually created a small scar because they had to do something there with the needle and
Mhm.
scrape your arm or something. I mean, that was really archaic. That was a long time ago. But we had no choice in the matter. We had to take that vaccine, and we should have.
Who was that lady that ran the health department that,
Not Miss Criddle. Was it Ruth Criddle?
that was before Miss Criddle?
Um,
Nice lady.
I
Had her work cut out for her,
Oh,
man.
yeah. Well, and that was the old building down on 3rd Avenue behind the courthouse.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyway, get your shot if you can, and so forth, so we can continue to see our friends,
Yeah.
you know.
And take his mask off eventually.
Absolutely. I saw somebody the other day and spoke to me from across the street, and I thought, who is that? I couldn't quite tell with the mask on, you know. And turned out after I thought about it, I said, oh, good grief. That was my friend Mike Tanner. But
Yeah.
across the street and with a mask on, I just couldn't place him at first. Anyway, yeah, I want to get the mask off, and I do miss seeing friends.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
we talk about going places and don't see people we know, and a lot of it is due to the virus. People just aren't out because people I know are my age, you know, and we're the ones that are in that bracket of getting it maybe quicker than others. So let's get the vaccine. Go where you need to go to get it, and let's start getting out more. Spring is on the way, and it's going to be, you know, after all the virus thing over the months, we're ready to get out and do things. So let's all take care of that business. Moving on a little bit here to real estate this morning, since this is a real estate show. Don't want to forget auctions. Bob Parks is, I guess, the largest auction company in the state of Tennessee, and auctions do not mean fire sales. So don't put that in the same category. An auction is just a way of knowing what your property is going to bring. And a lot of the sales turn out to be almost auctions today. When you put a house on the market and you get 4, 5, 6 offers or more, it's basically an auction. You just don't know necessarily what the other people are bidding. So keep in mind, an auction might be a way to sell your property. And getting back to inventory, you know, we keep talking about inventory, and Tom, you and I have been doing this for a few months, but back when I was doing it with Hudson, it was ordinary to say that we had 300 homes, you know, and if you got down to 18 or 1900, something was wrong. I mean, we almost felt like we had a crisis. Well, as of yesterday afternoon, guess how many homes we had on the market? Now, these are without contracts. These are homes that are just out there available for sale.
Less than 400?
Yes, 190.
Wow.
190 homes on the market, and again, that's without a contract. There are others that would show up on the market, but it would have a contract with contingencies and all that sort of stuff. So basically, that particular house or property would not be available. So we had 190 as of yesterday. So it's amazing what's happening. And in talking to other realtors, they're saying, you know, I've got buyers for, you know, this and that and so forth, and it's true. And so do I. But we don't have properties available for these buyers. And people are coming in from other places in the country, And I talked to one realtor yesterday that was selling a property that was $1 million, I forget, $1 million something, and her buyer put in an offer $30,000 over asking price, okay? And they didn't get the property. And she was talking to the listing agent, and the listing agent said, well, now your offer was good. It was in the top 5 offers, and she was 30,000 over. And there was one on my street downtown here in Franklin that brought 100 over asking price the first day. So those kinds of things are happening due to a couple of things: lack of inventory, and then people that are coming in here with the ability to buy, and either they have cash or they're saying it doesn't matter, we'll finance it and we'll pay the difference and all that. So it doesn't have to appraise, and all these things just are out the window. A lot of people are saying we don't even want to inspect it, we just want it.
Do you ever use an architectural drawing? Have you ever sold an architectural drawing?
No, even new construction, and I've sold new construction.
Yeah.
I would have used a picture
Yeah.
of maybe if a house was just being started, I would have used a picture of a previous home, and I would say this is not the home, but it's going to be very similar to this. And I just don't like that blueprint picture that pops up there. I think you need a little bit more. But see, even that doesn't matter today. You could put up a blank and no picture at all, and it doesn't matter. The key is having it available. See, so we meaning I guess the industry, the real estate industry, has gotten a little lazy in that respect, because we don't have to do anything except put it on the market. It's after that contract though that I don't want to make it sound too simple, because it isn't. It's easy to get a contract, but it's the finishing of that contract that really takes finessing and the method of how you handle it and how you handle the objections, some of the objections that might come along during that contract to close time frame. And a lot of crazy things can happen. And even though you get these contracts and high offers and so forth on the first day, they don't all close. And I've had, in the past 25 years, I've had sales go up to the last day and not close for various reasons. And that's a heart attack waiting to happen right there, and you know how that feels. And we don't want to get into that, but you do sometimes, but again, odd reasons.
Now, as a realtor, most of the cases, or most of the customers you have are sellers. Should you have a realtor if you're a buyer?
You should, because a realtor needs to help you looking out for your interests. There are so many things that go into buying and selling. Again, we try to make it look easy, but it isn't necessarily easy. A lot of people come into this business thinking it is easy, and then they find out that what's this all about? But yeah, buyers and sellers need representation, because again, you don't do this every day, and systems and procedures change all the time, and you don't want to get tied up with a lawsuit, or I signed the wrong document and I can't do that, and yet the document says you're supposed to and you just didn't read it. So it's much better to have representation, and it's really like going to court. I don't think anybody ought to go to court without an attorney. You might think, oh, I can talk to the judge, or I can whatever. Yeah, but there again, you still don't know the procedures. You don't know the right things to say necessarily, and it's much better and safer to take an attorney with you to court.
Do realtors have realtors?
In some cases, they certainly do. And I have represented other realtors before in selling their property. They didn't want to do it for self-serving reasons. And so, yes, other realtors do have other realtors. So anyway, real estate related items, questions, procedures, you want to talk about buying or selling, I'll be glad to help you. LOY HARDCASTLE at Bob Parks Realty.
Auctions.
Auctions, yeah, if you want an auction, we've got it all. And we can help you finance too, which is a real key. Obviously, we've got great rates, and everybody knows that, but we've got a really great procedure. So
In-house.
in-house, that's right. Anything real estate related, give me a call, LOY HARDCASTLE at Bob Parks Realty, 615-790-7400.